This is a symbol to denounce mass killing of Congolese in the eastern region of Congo. The international community has turned its back on the suffering of Congolese people. Women and children are killed every day in this conflict. Our biggest curse is God's given blessing of our natural resources, to be more specific, cobalt and coltan. Without these two, laptops, smartphones, and many electronic devices that you enjoy today wouldn't have been born. Not to mention, cobalt is a very important resource in the make of electric vehicles that is being revolutionized as an effort to breathe clean air that is polluted through the use of fossil fuel. Because the international community wants to see Congolese people getting butchered every day by M23 rebel group backed by Rwanda's armed forces, every Congolese must stand up and speak up against this genocide perpetrated by multinational corporations using Rwanda to cover their tracks. We want peace at all costs. Congolais sopla sozali telema. Foundation is like the heart of the house. Without it, there is no house. This is the step that requires an experienced builder so that your house does not end up falling apart one day because the foundation wasn't done right. When you are serious about doing business in Africa, you just don't run your mouth about it and come up with brilliant ideas with zero actions. You must be able to put your money where your mouth is. It's that simple. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Building something, whether it is for a business or residential purposes, is not inexpensive. However, the cost of building a house or a barn in Congo is very reasonable. Compared to other African countries, building materials are available locally, thus making the cost much more affordable. And the cost of transportation isn't all that high either. If you ask me, that is a privilege that a lot of Congolese have, especially those that live in the diaspora. But unfortunately, many of us don't take advantage of it. Wealthy people who understand the true value of land, they buy lands all over the world. The exploitation of lands owned by wealthy people, it is a different subject that we can talk about at a later date. Certain people come up with ridiculous excuses to remove themselves from buying a piece of land, using land scammers as an excuse not to purchase the land. Okay, let's touch base on land scamming in Congo for a minute, shall we? We can all agree that land scamming used to happen more frequently in the past in the Congo. But if you go further in detail, you will find that most people who had been scammed in the past did not do their own research on the pieces of lands that they were purchasing. It is not impossible, but it is very, very difficult to scam someone out of a registered land. What happened to the victim of land scamming actually was, what technically happened is that these people were lied into buying lands thinking that them lands were registered, but then eventually they found out that the house weren't registered, therefore they lost their money. Because of it, even if the victim takes the seller to court, they won't have legitimate paperwork in courts to indeed prove that the land belongs to them, because that piece of land will not have a registered number attributed to it. Now all you need to know to make a safe purchase is verifying if the land is registered. And then you and the seller together will go to a local office. Of course, with the land paperwork showing that a purchase was made. The officer will look up the number and confirms that the land is actually registered. And then once you have confirmed that piece of information, you can then comfortably proceed with the transaction. When I bought my land, I didn't have money to start building right away, but I started planting trees and other things. 3 years later, my conviction dictated that I pursue animal farming. Then I realized that I would need to build something for the animals. When I launched my pig barn project, I knew how hard it would be, but I also set myself for a challenge. I am sharing this with you, hoping that someone out there will be inspired to follow the same journey as well. I know many Congolese in the diaspora want to come home to invest,
but are afraid someone might come in and take their land. Hold on. Just hold on a second. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want to purchase or start a business in Congo, but you are afraid you might get scammed or someone will come and steal it from you. The only excuse I might sympathize with is no excuse at all, which means there is no excuse to be made anyway. So either you come in or stay out and leave us alone.
Completing this house in a timely manner is in my best interest because it will eliminate a lot of transportation expenses for my builders moving forward. I have multiple projects expected to take place on my farm within this year. That way, when the next project is due, after this particular one, my team can just stay here for as many days as needed to speed up the building process instead of spending money on transportation on a daily basis. That thing is adding up. I know some of you are about to ask, what if they want to go see their family members? Well, the answer is I plan things my way and tell whomever I hire to do the job. If they agree with staying a couple of days on the farm to get as much done as possible, then great. I'll work with them. If not, I'll move on to the next person until I find someone who's willing to take me up on it. It's just that simple.
I know so many small local farmers who operate without having a land on their own, but because they are passionate about farming, they figure out a way to do it, despite the fact that they don't own the land. The way they do it is they rent from someone who owns the land for a year. Believe it or not, there are people who take care of their family that way. This reminds me of a time when my pigs were staying at someone's mini barn that I helped renovate just so that I can keep my pigs there while I was waiting for my pig barn to be completed. Such as when the pigs grew bigger, they started breaking out of their structures because they did not have a secure door, thus making them targets to local thieves, and eventually I ended up getting one stolen, and a couple of days later, another one was killed at night by some group of guys who were going around stealing pigs in our neighborhood. Luckily, they failed to transport it because people happened to walk outside and they just took off running. All of these issues happened because the barn was unsecure and the wall wasn't tall enough. But there was nothing I can do about it at that point. Now my own pig barn has been built and properly secure. I cannot wait till the house is finished so I can bring my pigs back, because there is so much I am missing out on by not having pigs back on the farm. The one advantage I have is that by the time everything is up and running, I will have full control of the land, which will make the expansion process easier. Unlike someone who's renting, they are limited to whatever amount of land available to them.
I came across this quote that I found very interesting. I can't think of the name of the author. The quote says, "Success is more permanent when you achieve it without destroying your principles." We all have 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The way you use your time given to you daily, it is up to you. But you have to make a decision though. Are you going to continue to make someone else rich, or you would rather build your own business? We are all looking for success in life. How you reach it doesn't matter as long as you're putting the effort in to reach that objective. Keep that in mind.